Hi guys, welcome back, and today we're making the bed, baby! I have a rough idea of what I'm looking to do, and I'm thinking 3 sections for different storage purposes. So one of the cool things about the new EcoFlow River 2 is the X-Boost function. So out the box you can power something up to 300 watts, but with X-Boost turned on it can go up to 600 watts. Both the drill and the saw are up to 600 watts, so I was sorted. All I'm doing now is just placing some thin wooden strips for the bed frame to connect to. The design for the bed itself is just pretty standard, with posts at each end and a few in the middle of where I wanted the sections to be. Again, if you're a joiner, I'd recommend switching off. However, all feedback can only help me moving forward, so feel free to drop it in the comments. Alright, I just wanted to add a top tip. So when you're doing this, have 2 drills if possible, because piloting the holes, I would then have to unscrew it to then put on the drill bit, and I had to do this every single time I was making holes and then having to put screws in. So definitely, if you can, get 2 drills. And maybe cordless if possible, although it isn't a necessity because you obviously still have to charge the drills. If anything, just get 2 drills. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, why not consider leaving a wee like and subscribe? It helps the channel and it can push the video out to help others as well. And this is just a rough sketch of the design I was looking to go for. this is how it looked with the posts in, and it was pretty late at night, so I just called it a day. So with this footage I was going to cut it because it was just a shambles how this version turned out, but decided to keep it in as a version of what not to do. Now, it didn't work for me, but that's not to say it won't work for you if done properly, but for my peace of mind and skill set, I went another direction, which you'll see in version 2. The main issue is a lack of support in this version. I put the supports between the posts supported by screws. Now, it maybe could have worked had it been supported by mod blocks, but the lack of space hindered me from being able to get the drill in the spots that I needed to place them. Needless to say, I wasn't happy and changed it the next day after getting some rest. Again, for all you joiners out there, if there's any way that I could have done this better or different, drop it in the comments. So again, the reason why it didn't work for me was just if you see the gaps between the posts, this option just wasn't viable because when you were sitting on it, it just felt like it was bending. And even when I tried to add in these supports in the middle, it was big long screws that I was putting in. It just wasn't good enough because it just still felt like it was bending. So again, this was my version of what not to do. However, as I did have sort of a bed seating area, I thought let's get the futon out that I was going to use as a mattress, and at this point I was knackered. It was so comfortable I didn't want to move. And this is just me testing out different head heights at different lengths of the bed. This is me just putting it out as well just to check how wide it was. Now the futon was massive width-wise, so I definitely was having second thoughts about using it. And now we're on to the better version. So as you can see, I went with full length wood on top of the battens, and this was just 10 times stronger and I felt a lot more secure when I was sitting on it. Another benefit I noticed was doing it this way, the bed frame actually felt more rigid and sturdier, whereas before if I was moving around the van or if I sat on it, it would creak and it would knock. So this definitely made it more sturdier and it felt more whole as a unit. So after putting everything together, I had to undo the bed again because, as you can see, the batten at the side door in the middle, I didn't actually secure it down, so the bed was still moving and I didn't understand why. So I had to take it apart to then put it together again.